So my origin story actually starts in North Korea almost 100 years ago. Maybe that's not where we're going to go today, but I think I do want to talk about the story of immigration. That is really very central to my life and my existence. So my mom was born in North Korea and she crossed the border, the North and South border, right before the Korean War that started in 1950. And she was an immigrant actually living in South Korea, originally from North Korea, and she was very aware of her accent living in South Korea. And then in her 40s, she immigrated to New York from South Korea. And again, her English was limited and life was hard for her. So I come from that background and what it means to be an immigrant, be a stranger on the strange land, and all the different assets and problems and challenges and opportunities that are brought together when you're an immigrant. And I myself am an immigrant. With my parents, I came here with my brothers also. I moved from Seoul to New York City in the 80s. And then I moved from New York to Berkeley in 1991. So lots of changes in my life. And I have had opportunities and privilege also to think a lot about, what it means to belong somewhere and what it means to be really inclusive. So I think that's kind of what I bring to my work as well, like my personal value around how to create this space that feels safe and that would welcome anyone, that would really allow you to feel that you belong. Because I think that sense of community and belonging is what really can help bring people together and end violence. So that's my origin story, being strangers on the strange land and just learning about the language and culture. And my family really had to overcome a lot of different barriers, including poverty, language access, and just not knowing really anything about the systems here. So I think I'm very aware of the barriers that our clients experience on a daily basis. And I'm really in tune with their struggles and challenges. And also what can help them overcome their barriers and thrive. I'm not just interested in supporting people through crisis. I would love to support them to thrive, like my family has managed. It took a little while, it took a lot of work, but I think it can happen. That sense of belonging and having people around you that care for you. It may not be your family, right? Sometimes our clients are from dysfunctional families with a lot of difficult dynamics, but it could be just someone. It could be just one person that cares for you, that gives you unconditional love. I think love is the secret ingredient. So I've been in the social justice space, forever. I think since college. And when I was in law school, I worked for different social justice organizations. I remember my internship with Legal Aid Society of New York, working with homeless families. So that was kind of my first internship that really left a big mark on me, like how it is to have all these homeless individuals. Now I think we call them unhoused individuals, and all the systems that have failed them. So that was my first internship, and my social justice work began from there. But I had a little detour and worked for a big law firm because I had to pay off my student loans. And I think 6 years in 2 different law firms really helped me, I think, understand also the capitalist side and the corporate side and what it meant to survive there. And then I've been in the legal aid field. I was in legal aid for many, many years before I came to the Family Justice Center as the founding executive director in 2014. And in the past 7 years, I have grown this organization from a budget of $400,000 to about $3 million. And also, we went from like a small pilot center that opened 1 day a week in 2011 to 3 fully operational centers open 5 days a week. And so it's been 10 years here at the Family Justice Center. We have been open and serving clients, and we hope to go another 10 years and serving even more people. It was really hard in March last year. So we are recording this toward the end of March this year. So like a year later, I have a lot of thoughts. So right before the shelter in place went into effect, about a week before, I got a call from a supervisor from the Board of Supervisors here in Contra Costa County. She also serves on the board here at the Family Justice Center. Her name is Diane Burgess. And Diane called me 1 week before the shutdown and said, Susan, this is going to be bad. Get ready. So I was really fortunate in that I had that call 1 week before, and I got our 3 centers ready to actually be able to provide services virtually while keeping the doors open. I've stayed open physically throughout the pandemic because I had 1 week advance notice to get ready. But what that meant was that some of our staff were able to work from home from day one of shutdown. Their phones and their computers, the internet connection, and the Dropbox, all of those things were ready so that on any given day in March last year, when the world shut down, or it felt like, at least California shut down, we had 2 staff members on site per day. And then the rest of the staff were working from home. And again, we have never closed our centers because I thought about our clients, right? If you're experiencing domestic violence, elder abuse, child abuse, and you are finally ready to end that and trying to get help, and you come to this place and our doors are shut, how would that feel? You know, putting ourselves in our client's shoes, we made the difficult decision to stay open. And it wasn't easy. Some of our staff were a little scared at first, like, can we get this disease? How can we possibly stay open? But we were able to stay open and stay healthy. And I think that was really important. And in fact, in 2020, throughout the pandemic, we served more clients than 2019. We saw an increase of about 13 or 14% in terms of the number of clients. And secondly, we also had to switch our services and programs because we wanted to be responsive to the needs of our clients in this pandemic. So what we learned in March last year was that the economy shut down and our clients lost their jobs. It was really as simple as that. Most of our clients are women of color in low-wage jobs, such as restaurants and hotels, cleaning. Remember back in March, house cleaners were not allowed to go and clean. They were supposed to stay home. So a lot of our clients, in fact, most of them lost jobs in March, and they were experiencing hunger right away, let alone there were eviction threats. So anyway, we quickly shifted our work, and we became a mini funder for our clients, and we were able to give $500 per family. And in 2020, I think we assisted, 300 families, lots of families with cash assistance. We were able to do, plus we provided grocery carts, Chromebooks, at the beginning, food boxes. So we had to be responsive, right? That's the thing about, I think, our model. We can be very agile and very quick in meeting the needs. And the pandemic brought these needs, food, Chromebooks, right? Grocery carts. So we were able to bring those resources to our clients. That's the second thing. The third thing I would say about the pandemic is this. We really, I think, became much closer to our partner agencies, including public agencies. COVID actually has brought us together. So we have been hosting the COVID-related Community Care Coalition in our county, bringing together not just our traditional partners working in the area of interpersonal violence, but safety net partners, housing partners, public health partners, all of us coming together once a month to share relevant, timely, and accurate information, because that's what's really needed. So at the beginning, it was information about COVID tests. Where do you get it? Can you get it if you're undocumented? Is it free? You know, all those questions were answered. And later on, we answered questions about COVID-related relief. And then most recently, COVID vaccination. You know, we are sharing information about that, in addition to COVID-related tenant assistance. So there are a lot of really, important resources out there, and we need to share that information. So we have come to play that role, like as a hub organization of information. So that's another thing about COVID. And looking to the future, we've learned a lot, right, in this COVID time. I think one of the main lessons is that our country, our society has a lot of flaws and inequities and structural racism and systemic racism. And now, we have also seen the anti-Asian violence and hate. COVID has allowed us to really see this. Like, yeah, there are lots of gaps in our systems. And we also have seen a lot of opportunities. As I mentioned, the federal government has given really important COVID-related relief. The state government here too, and eviction, for instance, has been suspended as it relates to COVID. So, like, there are things we can do. Also, support for undocumented families has become available and real. So I feel like what we have seen is that if we have the public and community will to make changes in terms of policies and systems, we can make those changes. And I think that's what COVID has allowed us to see. It is on us, right? We are in the driving seat. I mean, all of us together in our community, we can make changes. That's what we've learned. Yeah, for sure, because we are also part of the California Family Justice Network, and I sit on the steering committee for the network. So we are very connected to other family justice centers. There are 25 of us in California. And also, even outside California, we are connected to other family justice centers around the country. And my email or our newsletter goes out to all kinds of people. So when we offer the Family Justice Institute trainings, we see people from really all over, not just California, but out of California as well. So we have had these opportunities to share really good information with a lot of people out there. I always go back to my maternal grandma from North Korea. So I always have a memory of her with her like hearing aid. And at the time, she didn't have this hearing aid that that you could hide in your ear. She was always carrying this box connected to her ear. So there was this little box that she always carried so that she could hear people. So I always felt like I was a singer or like an actor when talking to her, because she was, put this box in front of me. What she taught me is love. She has so much love to everyone around her, and especially to those who didn't have as much as she did. She would always share everything she had with people around her. So she inspired me, and I always thought, she's just my foundation. So that's what I would say. And then later on in my life, I was blessed with a mentor who taught me how to be a leader when I was at Bay Area Legal Aid. I was specifically mentored and coached by my former boss, Ramon Arias, who grew up in Coachella Valley, California, on an okra farm. And he always reminded me of his origin, where he came from. His people came from the farm workers, and he's always done, social justice work. And he didn't just, watch me do my thing as my boss. He actually reached out to me and mentored me and coached me for 10 years. And he was very clear and intentional about what he was doing with me and to me, which was to help me become an executive director of a nonprofit, of a social justice organization. And I really appreciated him for that. I couldn't be who I am doing what I do without him. And that's what I also try to do with staff that I have here. They're not just gonna become leaders, right? They need additional support and nurturing and very intentional conversations about what it means to be a nonprofit leader. So that's what I try to do. So I would say two things. One is that, as I mentioned, when they come in, they're coming in crisis, and they need help with restraining orders, custody issues, some mental health counseling needs. And we assisted over 4,000 individuals in 2020. And we looked at their family composition, and they had about 3,000 children under age 18. And we have been developing more programs for children and youth, but I think we need to do more. And we started doing more in terms of building partnership with other organizations that serve children and youth, and developing more resources for children and youth. And I think that's really a key, because we know that intergenerational violence exists and that it really has long-term impact on people, especially children. And these children who grow up in violent homes have poorer outcomes in terms of educational and health outcomes. So I think we need to help break the cycles of violence, and we have an opportunity because we have families, parents who come in here for support, and they have children in their homes. So we need to find a way to reach those children when they come here to connect with services. That's one area. The second area really is, generally speaking, prevention, right? As a movement, we have been doing a lot of work around intervention. We've done law enforcement training. We have improved the laws in response to, crime victims. We've done a lot of policy advocacy in terms of giving notice to, victims about the danger of strangulation. So a lot of really good work has happened in the area of intervention. But prevention is, I think, definitely our future. And by prevention, I don't mean just workshops on domestic violence or dating violence. Workshops are workshops. That's just one very narrow field of education. What I mean by prevention is really looking at the public health approach to causes and root causes of violence. So what are some of the root causes? You know what it is, right? One, lack of economic opportunities is a root cause of violence. The really misogynistic gender norms are also root causes of violence. The lack of social cohesion is also another root cause of violence. So we really should look at the root causes of violence, and our family justice model really allows us to look at them and bring additional resources. So not just help with restraining orders or counseling, but really looking at overall holistic family support, like parenting classes, for instance, or jobs and training, job trainings, micro enterprise development programs. So we studied all of those programs already, but we want to expand on those programs to really understand why we have these programs, right? That is because we want to prevent violence, and the way to prevent violence is by addressing the root causes of violence. What we're trying to do here is to build informed and engaged community. So regardless of the amount of dollar donations, or whether they give us their time, or even just kind words, we are trying to build community together with our donors, and they are our partners. That's how we see them. And also, we believe that we could prevent violence by letting everyone know what we do at the Family Justice Center. There are still a lot of people out there in our community who don't know what they do or what resources we provide. So our donors really get to know us, and I'm hoping that they're going to be ambassadors for us to let everyone know in their own community that we can provide support and resources for our clients. So really, it's about building partnership and building community.